All right, good morning, boys. How are you guys? You got any prayer requests this morning? Okay. All right. Well, let's bow our heads here. Open in prayer here. Lord, thank you for this day that you give us, and thank you for all the beautiful sunshine and the rain and moisture. Lord, just forgive us where we fall short of your glory. Help us to love and honor and serve you. These things ask in your name. Amen. Okay. So I think we left off in chapter 22 there, Matthew chapter 22, and ready for verse 15. Then the Pharisees went and plotted together how they may trap him in what he said. And they sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach the way of God in truth, and defer to no one, for you are not partial to any. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to give a poll tax to Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their malice and said, Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the poll tax. And they brought him a denarius. He said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is this? And they said to him, Caesar's. Then he said to them, Then render to Caesar's the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And hearing this, they were amazed, and leaving him, they went away. On that day, some Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to Jesus and questioned him, asking, Teacher, Moses said, if a man dies having no children, his brother, as next of kin, shall marry his wife and raise up children for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers with us, and the first married and died, and having no children, left his wife to his brother. So also the second, and the third down to the 7th. Last of all, the women died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife of the 7 will she be? For they all had married her. But Jesus answered and said to them, You are mistaken, not understanding the Scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. But regarding the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what was spoken to you by God? I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but the living. When the crowds heard this, they were astonished at his teaching. But when the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered themselves together. One of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? And he said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and foremost commandment. The second is like it, You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments depend the whole law and prophets. Now while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question. What do you think about the Christ, and whose son is he? They said to him, the son of David. He said to them, Then how does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies beneath your feet. If David then calls him Lord, how is he his son? No one was able to answer him a word, nor did anyone dare from that day to ask him another question. All right. Next week for your assignment, what I want you guys to memorize verse 37, 38, 39, and 40. You can do that. And the older boys, why don't you use those same verses, but just share how you apply them to your life.
supposed to tell what the wedding clothes mean, and it's a privilege to see Jesus, and those who wore the wedding clothes were excited to see Jesus, but the one who didn't wear them, he didn't think it was a big deal.
So, wedding garments in Matthew 22. Is it similar to righteousness?
The parable of Matthew 22 talks about the kingdom of heaven and how the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a wedding. And so, if we want to go to the kingdom of heaven, we need to live right. And that's kind of what the wedding clothes were referencing. If you're living right, then you can go to the kingdom of heaven and to the wedding.
I thought we were supposed to explain what we thought the wedding clothes were. Anyway, and I thought the wedding clothes were like how we live our life and how we do stuff. And if we do it right, that's building our wedding clothes. But if we do it wrong, then we don't build them. We don't have them. If we don't have them, we get thrown out of the kingdom of heaven. We get them.
A part of your wedding clothes can be having mercy, being merciful, and because if you're merciful here in this life, God will have mercy on you.
The man at the wedding who didn't have wedding clothes, he hadn't prepared for the wedding. He hadn't prepared for Jesus coming or something. He wasn't following after what he should have been doing.
I also thought it might have meant being ready, and in Luke 12:35-37 says, "Let your waist be girded and your lamps burning, and you yourselves be like men who wait for their master when he will return from the wedding, that when he comes and knocks, they may open to him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the master, when he comes, will find watching." So we need to stay on track and give him good things and not get led astray.
On that judgment day, when God separates the sheep from the goats, the sheep will be wearing wedding clothes, wearing wedding clothes, and separate the sheep. They'll be wearing wedding clothes, and the goats, wedding clothes will go to heaven, and the wedding clothes, people, and the goats will go to heaven.
I think the wedding clothes means not just doing what's right, but to save ourselves, but doing what's right because doing what's right to please the Lord, and because doing it for ourselves is just selfish to save us. We need to do it because the Lord is worthy.
The people with the wedding clothes were the people that tried to pattern themselves after Jesus, and the people who didn't have their wedding clothes were the people who, whenever Jesus comes, they won't be doing what he says. And in Revelation 19:8, it says, "It was given to her to clothe herself in fine linen, bright and clean."
Who was that?
The bride is the church. And it was given to her to clothe herself in fine linen, bright and clean, for the fine linen is the righteousness, or the righteous acts of the saints.
Well, I think wedding clothes, I think we need to live right and practice what Jesus taught, love him and do what he said.
Wedding clothes is like putting away the world and getting clothes in righteousness.
Wedding clothes are something that you just lay down your life for Jesus and store everything else away, and just practice wearing wedding clothes and just practice Jesus' teaching. Just don't worry about anything else.
The man that
he was told, "Sir, why don't you have your wedding clothes?" And it's funny because initially when I was thinking about this, I forgot he said "sir." So I was imagining, usually you imagine the woman that's going to be married, the bride, is having the wedding clothes, and the man's just wearing a tuxedo or whatever. But she's wearing a pure white, which symbolizes, purity and everything. But then I thought, well, no, he said "sir." So apparently everybody that was coming to this wedding had wedding clothes, and which made me think about how they were prepared to go to that wedding, and this man wasn't prepared. And then I thought about all the other, this is talking about the end of our life, when we're going to be judged and everything's going to be made clear how we lived and everything. Well, there's many parables in the Bible, and a lot of them are about a harvest. And I thought about how, there's another parable about the laborers that were set to work in this vineyard, and they just thought, well, the Lord's not going to come. The Lord of the vineyard's not coming, so let's just eat and drink and beat our servants. Well, the Lord did come, and he dealt with those laborers as their deeds required them to be dealt with. And I just thought about how if we're not involved in the work now, and not involved in whatever it is in heaven that there's going to be, if we're not involved in that now, we're not going to be ready to be involved in it then, and we won't be worthy of it. And there's a lot of people, they're going to think that they're clothed when they're really naked. And so we need to do the things now, even though they're not oftentimes exciting. They're really boring at times. We need to do those things now so that the Lord can call us at that time and we can be a part of His kingdom. And I also thought about how, like what Maury said, that's exactly what I was thinking, is we're not doing this just to save our own hide. We're doing it because it's right, it's good. And I thought about goodness and how amazing it is that goodness can stand by itself in this world. In anything you look at in nature, you see goodness and how it just is good. And there's no pretense. It's beautiful, it's right, and it works, and it's harmonious with nature. But then there's bad, which is destructive, and you see that it's just inherently bad. There's no pretense. A weed is a weed, and if you leave that weed in your garden, it's just going to take over. So there's no question about it. Just take it out of there. But an apple is good, no matter what, unless it's got worms in it. But it's still good. It's just got worms in it. But if we love what's good now, and we do the necessary work to keep it from spoiling, we keep our lives, and we keep persisting and just love what's good now, even though it's boring. It may just come under so much attack, it just gets so discouraging. Then at the end of our life, we will be worthy of that goodness and to continue eternally.